up, you guys? This is LA Knight, and I am back with my November TBR because my August, September, October wrap-up was too long. I felt for me to also add my TBR to it, so I made it a separate podcast. Also, I'm trying to figure out, I'm still working on my intro because, a lot of the people that I watch on YouTube have really, really definitive, you hear it and you know it's them intros. Lily Singh has, what up, it's your girl, Superwoman, and she does that thing with her hands, and Markiplier goes, hello everybody, my name is Markiplier, and welcome to, whatever. And then Jacksepticeye is like, top of the morning to you laddies, my name is Jacksepticeye. And so I need to come up with something, but I don't have anything yet, other than, hi everybody, it's LA Knight, and I am back with blah. And I'm like, I feel like I could come up with something better than that, but I don't know, I'll think about it. Anyway, so this is my November TBR in alphabetical order. I am actually in the middle of Autobiography by Christina Lauren, and it is taking a long time because I have to stop every, page or two and tweet about it because it's one of the first, I think I explained this in my wrap-up, it is the first book with a supposedly Mormon main character. He's not actually a main character, but where it's a love story between these two boys. One of them is Mormon, and the author is not Mormon. And I'm like, when I heard about this, I was like, this has the potential to be very, very bad. And so far, I have pages and pages of all the things that are not right about this. And it's not even, opinion stuff. It's fact stuff. So, like how long missionaries spend in the missionary training center, just as something that is, not something that can be argued over. It's 3 to 9 weeks. It's not 3 months. It's 3 to 9 weeks. And she's like, yeah, it's going to be 3 months. And that's so terrible. And she did it for drama. Or they. It's actually two women. They did it for drama. And I'm just... So that's taking me forever, which is why I'm not done with it. Literally, I'm on page 106, and I started, 4 days ago. And I've been reading this book a lot, but I have to keep stopping. I'm going to be reading Beast Made of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi. I'm so excited! Oh my god, it came out just this past Tuesday on Halloween. And it's one of the first YA mainstream high fantasies not with British or Irish mythology in it. It's Nigerian mythology, and I'm so excited. And Tochi Onyebuchi is really nice. He's a really cool dude. He found out that I thought he was a woman, and I thought he was a woman for, 4 months, and he was totally cool about it. I felt so stupid, though. I'm going to be rereading Castle Hangnail by Ursula Vernon as part of my November Ween thing, because Castle Hangnail is, the spoopiest little book ever. It's so cute. I love it so much. And also, this way, then I can review it, and it'll be fresh in my mind, because the last time I read it was in, February. I'm going to be rereading Dearly Departed by Leah Hebel, which is a zombie romance. It's the first book in the Gone with the Respiration series. And Leah Hebel is also really nice. And the Dearly Departed is so good. I saw it at the library years ago, and I read the inside, or it wasn't the inside flap, it was the thing on the back. You know how they sometimes have a little blurb? And I read the blurb, and I was like, I need this book in my life. So I checked it out, I read it in less than a day, and then I bought it. And I've read it 6 or 7 times since I bought it, and I'm gonna reread it again. It's so good. And then I'm finally gonna review it on a verbal platform, because I've reviewed it on Tumblr, and I've both as an aesthetic and as an essay review. I've done both of those at different times when during rereads, and I need to do it again for a podcast. I am currently reading Everland by Wendy Spinelli. Again, another friend of mine from Twitter who's also a published author. I have a lot of author friends on Twitter. She's super neat, and Everland is the first book in the Everland series. It's a steampunk retelling of Peter Pan, where, except there's some name changes, so, there's Pete instead of Peter, Bella instead of Tinkerbell, Joanne instead of John, Mikey instead of Michael, and then Gwen instead of Wendy, and I think that's because the author's name is Wendy, and so they wanted to, change that around. But it's really interesting, but I'm listening to it on audio, and I listened to the first half all in one sitting, and now I need a break because it's really dark. Lots of dead people. And dying people. But the cover is super neat looking, and I've read the summaries, for the second and third book because the trilogy's finished, and they're so interesting sounding. The first one is Everland, which is based on Peter Pan. The second one is Umberland, which is based on Alice in Wonderland, and the third one is Ozland, which is obviously based on The Wizard of Oz. And then there's a novella that's only available digitally, and I'm not going to read that because I don't have any way to read it. I'm going to finish Fiendish by Brittany Jovanoff. I actually have to restart it because it's been like a year since I started it, and then I didn't read it for like 10 months, and so I don't remember much of what's going on. It's a little hard for me to get to because it's set in the South, and the main character is a witch, and so there's like that whole dynamic going on, which is kind of a little triggering for me, and I'm not even being sarcastic or using that, facetiously. I'm being serious. So, like, I'm having a little bit of difficulty, but I do want to get through it because Brittany Jovanoff is, like, one of my favorite authors. I love the way she writes. I'm going to be reading I'm on page 2 of Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. Also a sort of friend of mine on Twitter, sort of. I don't talk to her as often as I do Wendy, but she's really cool, and I've known her since before she got published because we were both Pitch War enterers. I don't know what the word is. We both entered Pitch Wars the same year. I didn't get in, but she did, and her book sounded so cool. It's a backstory book, sort of like Maleficent, sort of like the movie Maleficent, except for the Wicked Queen from Snow White, except it's set in like a Vietnamese-ish fantasy country, and it sounds really cool. It's really dark, so I have to take that one a little slow, and also there's no audiobook. I don't know why. People are crazy. But, so it's going to take me a bit. But I'm so excited, and it's so pretty. I'm reading The Gauntlet. I'm in the middle of it, by Karuna Riazi still. I had to start it over because I started it back in April, and then didn't read it for, 4 months not because it's bad, because it's not, it's so good, but because my work schedule. But no, I got fired! So now I have time. That is basically a middle grade steampunk Jumanji using Persian mythology instead of the African jungle. And it's really good, and the main character is really smart, and I love her so much. She's so cool. I want to be friends with this girl. I'm going to be rereading The Girl from the Well by Rin Chupeco. I'm going to put myself through that for 2 reasons. 1, as part of my November Ween thing, and 2, because then I need to read The Suffering, which is the sequel, before I can read The Bone Witch, which is also by Rin Chupeco, but is separate from the other 2 books. The Girl from the Well is basically, it's based on the same Japanese myth that the movie The Ring is based on, but it's better than The Ring. The Ring is terrible. The Ring is awful. I hate The Ring. I loved The Girl from the Well when I read it the first time, even though it scared the bejeebus out of me. I could only read it during the daytime. I could not read it at night, and it's really short, so hopefully I'll have time to read it during November Ween. I'm going to be reading Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevers, which is about assassin nuns in medieval Britain and France. And that's kind of cool. That's kind of part of November Ween, I guess, because it's there's the death god and, serial killers and things, I guess, but not really, because it's more like medieval historical fiction, not really scary in any way. I'm going to be reading The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, because Angie Thomas is amazing and deserves all the praise, and her book sounds fantastic, and she's a really nice woman, and so I want to read it so that then I can leave a review and help push her, keep her on top of the New York Times list, because she deserves to be there. I'm going to be rereading The Hollow by Jessica Verde, which is a book that's sort of a modern sequel to what's it called, with the headless guy, the Headless Horseman, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That's what it's called. God, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. It's sort of a modern-day sequel to The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I have read it before. I'm rereading it for November Ween so that I can be refreshed on it, because I haven't read it in 4 years, so that I can be refreshed on it so that then I can review it as part of November Ween. And for those of you who don't know, because you didn't listen to my previous podcast with my wrap-up, November Ween is what I'm going to be doing, because since I got fired at the end of September, I really was not feeling in the mood to celebrate Halloween at all in any way, shape, or form. I did not have any spooky spirit at all, and now I'm kind of sad that, I didn't really do anything for Halloween. I mean, because there are things you can do that don't cost money, right? And I'm sad that I didn't do any of them, and so as to, make up for that, I'm doing November Ween, where instead of focusing on, Thanksgiving and stuff, because, there aren't a lot of books that would, fit with that, Instead of doing that, I'm gonna be reading the spooky books that I should have been reading in October and wasn't. I'm in the middle of Howl's Moving Castle. It's a little hard for me because the audiobook that I have is really quiet, and I don't own an actual copy of the book, like a physical copy, so I can't read along. Even if I had a physical copy, I wouldn't have time to do that, but I can't do it because I don't have one. Also, I watched the movie, like, years ago when it came out, and I loved it, and the book is very different, and so that's a little jarring. It's not that I don't like it, though. So far, I like it, although Hal's kind of a douche. Which kind of explains why they got Christian Bale to voice him in the movie. I mean, what? I didn't say that. Nope, didn't say that. I'm going to be rereading The Iron Thorn as part of November Ween because it's a alternate history steampunk book based on H.P. Lovecraft, but with fairies in it, so that's going to be interesting. I'm going to be rereading Little Vampire Women. I forget who wrote that. The Iron Thorn was written by Caitlin Kittredge, by the way. I forget who wrote Little Vampire Women. It's one of those parodies that came out after Pride and Prejudice and Zombies got, like, really, really big. It's really good, though. It's really cute, and I really liked it, but I read it years ago. I don't even think I was married when I read it. And so I want to reread it so I can talk about it, because I don't remember a lot. Other than I remember that the girls are vampires, but Teddy, the male friend, is not a vampire. I remember that happened. I'm going to be reading Mina by Nina Kirali, which is a sequel to the book Dracula. It's not the canon sequel. There is a canon sequel written by somebody who's a descendant of Bram Stoker. Do I have it? I think, I don't know. I have something. I don't know if that's what that is. I have some kind of book over there. I think I do. I think I do have it. My shelf is like 7 feet away, and it's really dim in here, so I can't tell, but there's a giant book next to the R.L. Stein that looks like it says something Dracula on it, and I'm pretty sure the only book that I have that isn't Dracula that would be there is the sequel. I think I do have the sequel. Maybe I should read that. Well, maybe. We'll see. I have to read Dracula itself first, again, because I read that when I was in, like, 3rd grade. Didn't understand a lot of it, missed a lot of things, got really confused a lot of the time. So, if I'm going to read the Dracula sequel, the actual Dracula sequel, I have to read the actual original Dracula again. But the thing about Mina is that I don't have to read Dracula again in order to read this book. It says so in the preface, or maybe it's the author's note, whatever. There's a thing in the beginning that says you don't have to have read Dracula in order to read the book, because she basically summarizes the book and then highlights what she's going to be building off of in her sequel. The reason she wrote it is because in Dracula, you get a lot of Mina's point of view, Mina Harker, until she gets bitten by Dracula, and then we never hear from her again. And Nina Kirali was like, that's really stupid, so she fixed it. I'm going to be rereading Nevermore by Kelly Cray, and the reason I'm rereading it is, one, for November Ween, because it's a modern, one of those YA books that happened a few years ago when, like, this was a big thing where they took, like, a piece of classic literature and then modernized it in some way. They did that with Edgar Allan Poe, and this is my favorite book that did that, but it's not my favorite book, like, ever. I do like Nevermore, but there's a lot of flaws in it. Lorien, Kitty Books, my best friend, she hates it, but I love it. It's okay. We're allowed to like different things. And the thing is the trilogy finally finished, I want to say last year, but the second book ended in such a terrible way, not terribly written, but, like, devastating way. I've been afraid to pick up the third book, and now I don't remember, like, almost anything that happened in the series, other than the ending of the second book and a couple other things that really, really bothered me. I think Lorien remembers more of Nevermore than I do, because so much of it made her angry. So I have to reread it in order to finish the trilogy. And also because, you know, hey, November Ween, cool. I'm going to be reading The Quick by Lauren Owen. I'm so excited. It's about vampires! There are so few YA books coming out now about vampires, ever since, like, Twilight and all the books that came out right after Twilight kind of glutted the market. There have been no vampire books, and I've been so sad because I love vampires. I've been into vampires since I was, like, 3 years old, and I saw the movie Fright Night when I was little. My parents were so pissed that my brother let me watch it. But, you know, we were all by ourselves in the basement during a tornado warning, so, you know, that. And so I'm really excited. It's a historical fiction YA book for, you know, with vampires in it, and I've been told it's like The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, except for teens. So, and I liked what I read of The Historian, So I'm excited to start this. And I have this on audiobook, so I'll be able to listen to it while I'm doing other things. I'm in the middle of Reserved for the Cat by Mercedes Lackey, which is a reread for me, but I'm trying to make my way through all the books in that series that I did read, and so that I can then pick up the series where I left off several years ago. Originally I had read the first, second, third, fourth, half of the fourth, and then the fifth book. Didn't finish the fourth book, and didn't read past the sixth book. I did read the sixth book, but I didn't like it very much. It was weird and creepy, and not the same as the other ones. And so I'm not going to be rereading that one. That one I do remember, but because I read it like semi-recently, and I wasn't that impressed, which I think is one reason why it took me so long to get back into the series. But so I'm rereading the ones that I knew that I liked, and then the fourth one, because I'd never finished it, so that I could then go on to the next few, because when I stopped, there were 6, and now there's like 13 or 14 of them, and I'm like, oh no, and she comes out with one like every year or two now, and I'm like, shoot! So I gotta, pick up the pace. I'm gonna be rereading Rotten Ruin by Jonathan Mabry because I need to finish the series. I put off finishing the series when I found out that one of my favorite characters dies in the second book, and I was like, I'm never reading this again, but now I really want to. And also it's about zombies, and it's one of the few zombie books that I can handle. And so I want to read it for November Ween because it's cool. I'm not even in the middle. I'm on like page 15 of Secrets in Death by J.D. Roberts, the latest in-death book. I'm so ashamed of myself because usually what happens is an in-death book arrives and I'm done with it in like 2 days. That's how we do in my family. That's how my grandmother was when she was alive. That's how my mom is, and that's how I am with the in-death series. It's a series that every woman in my immediate family reads. I think even my aunts are reading it. So I read it, my mom reads it, and we both found out about it. I found out about it from my mom, and my mom found out about it from my grandma. And so my grandma's been reading it too, and then she passed away, so obviously she's not reading it anymore. And I'm like, I can feel her like being ashamed of me in the afterlife because I haven't really started. I'm on like page 10. The person just died, because it's a mystery. It's a murder mystery. The victim just died, and that's as far as I've gotten. I'm going to be reading A Shelter of Stones by Jean M. Auel because I'm, like, finally making my way to the Clan of the Cave Bear series. And I've managed to get through books 3 and 4 in, like, 2 weeks, which is a big deal because the first book, The Clan of the Cave Bear, I started reading when I was 15 and didn't finish it until about 6 months ago. So that should tell you something. So I'm on a roll right now, and I want to keep going on that roll until I get to the end of the series. Of course, once I get to the end of the series, I might be annoyed and want to start it over, just because it's nice to get away from, like, the life and death, gotta save the world, our relationship is on the line drama sometimes, and just, like, take a more sedate pace with a book, and that's what I get from these books. So once I get to the end, I might be sad and start them over. Who knows? I'm going to be rereading The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. Same reason as Nevermore, because I never finished the trilogy, and I need to, and also for November Ween. That one's got ghosts, superpowers, possession, reincarnation, amnesia, lots of crazy shit going on in that book, and I can't wait to finish it, to restart it, and then finish the series. I'm going to be rereading Visions in Silver because I'm slowly working my way through the other series by Anne Bishop. That would be book 3. I read book 1 and 2 like back to back, but then kind of got a little burnt out a little bit just because there was so much stress in the book and so much stress going on with me at the time that I couldn't handle it. Hopefully this will cheer me up a little bit though now because I'm stressed out to the point that I'm getting like tension headaches all the time. And one of the only things that makes me happy is reading and talking to you guys, which is one of the reasons why I'm being so good about recording on a schedule now. Hopefully I stick with that. Cross your fingers. Gonna be rereading What Would Mr. Darcy Do by Abigail Reynolds because I'm working my way through all of the Abigail Reynolds books that I have read so that then I can read the 3 that I haven't read, that I own. There's one that I haven't read that I don't own, but I don't want it. I think I talked about this in my wrap-up. It's got spies and stuff, and I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. And then I'm going to be reading Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lena Popovic, who is a friend of mine from Twitter. She's pretty cool. She's actually a literary agent that I submitted to a few years ago, and she ended up obviously not representing me, because if she did, I'd be published by now. She ended up not representing me, but we did end up like really kind of hitting it off because we have a lot of the same interests. And so we're friends now online, and that's pretty cool. And I'm actually on sub to her again right now. and haven't heard back from her on that yet, but she's been really helpful to me with other things. And I'm like, even if I didn't enjoy the topic of the book, and even if I didn't like her as a person, even if I didn't think she was like the coolest person ever, and even if I didn't feel like I've got to read this book because she's helping me out so much, I would still want to read this book because it's so cool. I'm only on like page 30, but it's really interesting. It's just that I don't have an audiobook, and most of the things that I'm reading, I'm listening to them on an audiobook while I'm getting things done. The only exception to this is What Would Mr. Darcy Do, which is written in the same style as Pride and Prejudice, so it helps me calm down and go to sleep, and which is not how Wicked Like a Wildfire is written. And then autobiography, which I'm treating more like a job. So, it might take me a while to read it, but right now I'm really enjoying it. And it's about witches. It's got witches in it. So my goal is to finish it so that I can review it for November Ween. Alright, that is my November TBR. Gosh, this video was long. I actually have a lot of things on here, but that's because I'm in the middle of a bunch of different books. And so they're on my TBR also. So that's, you know, how many is that? It's like 20, 30, something like that. I don't know, I can't count without numbers. I realize that didn't make any sense, but basically the lines are too close together for me to count them easily, and it'll take too long. So thank you guys for listening. Shout out to Whitney Hunt and Lorien O'Brien, my patrons on Patreon. Hey, you guys, you want to support me on Patreon and get a shout out in my credits and my ending, you know, outro, that's what it's called, in my outro. Go support me on Patreon. The link is down in the doobly-doo below. And, you know, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Check me out on Etsy. Check me out on Patreon. Check me out on Tumblr. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on fanfiction.net. And check me out on Wattpad. Also Fiction Press, but I don't have as many things on there as I do on everywhere else. Yeah. Check me out on all those different places. Or you can buy me a coffee at the link below. Thank you so much, and, you know, I'll keep you guys posted on how I manage, I can talk. I will keep you guys posted on what progress I make through this gigantic, gargantuan list. Wish me luck, happy November Ween, and I will talk to you guys next time. I'm planning, the next video should be a review of whatever book I finish next. Alright, thanks guys, bye!